too much journalism, at least in the United States, is what I have been calling fast food journalism. It's a quick bite. People read the headlines and they move on to the next thing. So my mission is to provide a fine meal of journalism, stories that can be savored and that readers find satisfying at the end. They don't just read the headlines and scroll on to the next thing and move on. What I think is important, at least for us to do, is to focus on quality and building community. It seems like a simple matter to provide quality, but it's not so simple. It can be expensive. Sometimes it takes longer to do deep, meaningful, investigative stories, but it is a fundamental obligation of journalists to serve that role for readers, to help provide understanding, to shine a bright light on areas and issues and people, institutions that might prefer to do things in the darkness and do things out of sight. That's what we do as journalists. We hold powerful people and powerful institutions accountable. It's not always easy to do that, but it's important. So we have created this community where we have said to our readers, our stories are free. You can read as many of our stories as you wish, but if you like what you see, if you feel that it's important, please consider helping us. And that has been a revelation for me, to learn how to ask for help. But when you create community, what do we do in a community? We help each other. That is what community is about. If your house is on fire, I'm going to come over to your house and help you put it out. That's what members of a community do. They help each other. And I think that it's important for us in our industry to create that community, because we depend on readers to support us. Our readers' support provides our hope for our future. And as I said, I'm an optimist, because at least in my case, when I have asked readers for help and asked readers for support, they have responded, because in some cases this is the first time they've ever been asked. Journalists, find it hard to ask for help sometimes. To me, our approach is to create a movement, almost a revolution, that we're all working together. And you provide financial support to me, you tell me what it is that's important in our community. I don't always do those stories just because somebody is telling me that they want me to do that story, but I listen to them. And where I can, I do those stories. And so we begin to have a two-way relationship, not just a newspaper telling readers the way that it is, that it's really a two-way street. We are in a crisis right now, and it is not a crisis for journalists. This is not about journalists. This is about our country here in Costa Rica. It is about my community in Colorado. Journalism is a fundamental pillar of our democracy. How can Costa Ricans be expected to make intelligent choices if they don't have access to free and independent information? Journalism that helps them understand what the issues are, that helps them look at your powerful institutions, look at whether it's Congress or whether it's business, whether it's the environment. That is an absolute pillar of our democracy. So this is not about protecting jobs for journalists. That is a small thing. Journalists, we're capable people who can go out and find other jobs. There are other jobs to be had in our world, but there's nobody else to step up and do the kind of work that we do, to really ask those difficult, uncomfortable questions, but we all need those answers to be good citizens, to be informed citizens, and to make informed choices.
Larry, estando la situación como está actualmente en los medios de comunicación, tenemos medios cerrando, periodistas despedidos, una situación muy, muy grave en todos los países, realmente no solamente aquí en Costa Rica. Sin embargo, usted es positivo. ¿Por qué?
I'm an optimist because I see a lot of journalists who are trying to find new ways to not only reach new audiences in journalism, but also to try to find new ways of funding their journalism. Journalism, free, independent journalism, is a pillar of our democracy, not only in the United States, but in Costa Rica and other countries. And I think that's the important thing for people to remember when they hear the bad news about journalists losing their jobs. And I mean, there's a lot to be discouraged about when I see news about job losses. In the United States, just so far this year, 3,000 journalists have lost their jobs. That's difficult. That's very hard to see. But at the same time, there are many journalists in Colorado and many other places in Texas and many other places beyond that who are trying to find new models for funding their journalism, new ways to reach readers. We as an industry need to find ways to reach those readers. And I'm excited. There are young journalists coming up who are half my age or younger, and they're finding new ways, whether it's through podcasts, through new forms of digital storytelling. These are exciting things.